We haven't opened the meeting yet. He's not late.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll give it to you, Dan.
Well, I guess Good evening and welcome to the May 20th, 2015 meeting of the Parks and Recreation Committee. As usual, we'll start off just introducing ourselves for the benefit of the people at home, since we don't have name badges yet that are legible anyplace. So I'm Chris Christensen, I'm the chairman.
Matt Kasparis, Director of Parks and Recreation.
Dan Dwyer, Town Council Liaison.
Rick Greenier, MYA Liaison.
Dan Ricker, member.
Michelle Cushman, member and secretary.
Christine Lavoie, member. Jackie Flood, member.
Maureen Hall, representative of the Senior Citizen Club.
Julie Poole, member.
Cinda Guayumi, school board liaison.
Thank you all for being here. And we have new members, Julie Poole, and who just introduced herself, and Melissa Kowalski, who is not here yet.
She was going to be, but she's out sick too.
Oh, that's too bad. Okay. So next order of business is the minutes of April last month, and we have copies have been distributed. They were emailed out. Do we have a motion for the minutes? Anybody?
Can I
Michelle.
vote if I wasn't here?
Sure.
Okay.
If you weren't here, you have to abstain when we vote, but you can make the motion.
Okay. I make the motion to accept the meetings as read, minutes as read.
And we have a second from Christine. Any discussion? Comments, questions, changes? Seeing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I didn't get a number. All opposed? Abstentions? 1, 2 abstentions. So we have 802. Old business update from the Friends of the Merrimack Dog Park. We should have a category that says continuing business.
Right, there you go. The dog park contest for Pet Safe, Bark for Your Park, is going well. As of today, we're at 941 votes. So thank you everybody who's been voting. If you haven't been voting, please log in and do so that we can go ahead and win money towards the dog park. So it's been going well. We do have a funding request put in for an additional monies for the advertising, which is about $23, which is
15, yeah.
and yes, Beth.
Oh, that's all you got?
Well, I really short and sweet.
Okay.
Oh. Well, if people are watching on TV, you might want to say something about your upcoming events.
Well, we do have a couple upcoming events. We're going to be working at the 4th of July and the Rib Fest for volunteering. We do have a comedy night still in the planning stages, which hasn't been planned out completely yet. And right now, we're concentrating mostly on the Bark for the Park contest.
Any questions on that? Oh, come on. Everybody knows the website?
Okay.
Website is
Yeah, so my goodness, we have a lot of
petsafe.com.
information. That's right. It's petsafe.net, Bark for Your Park. If you can't find it, go to Friends of the Merrimack Dog Park Facebook page or website www.merrimackdogpark.com.
And if you have trouble,
Email me.
Christine.
Email me, merrimackdogpark@gmail.com. Absolutely. Go Merrimack.
Well, I'm pleased to hear that we're doing well on the Bark for Your Park.
Oh, I do have. There has been a challenge issued by one of our supporters who is willing to donate $1 for every vote that we receive to the dog park.
Yeah.
I heard Dan might, put in something. So everybody, if you see Dan, ask him about that. But yes, $1 for every vote that we receive. So hopefully we
Super.
can make it to the next round. So keep voting.
I'm working on some other funding too.
Thank you, Dan.
Good.
That's awesome.
Thank you all very much.
Yeah. Matt, did you have anything to add on
All
the
I
dog
had
park?
to add to that was that they did have a request to spend $23.15 from the account. They had actually spent the money and had gone over what we had previously allocated to them by this $23, and so we just have to approve it to make it official. They said if we didn't approve it, they would just eat it, but obviously
Right.
it's legitimate, so.
And it's better for record keeping that way.
Right.
So, do we have a motion to approve $23.15?
So I'll make the motion to approve the request of the 2315.
Second?
Moved and seconded.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? Dan?
What was the winning vote last year when the other town had won? Do you remember roughly what the count was when it?
I do not. You mean the first phase?
Yeah,
In the medium category,
it was in the thousands.
towards the end of it, yeah, because we still have 20 days left or
Yeah.
so. So yeah, you're in thousands.
We're already doing better
Yes.
already.
Well,
Yeah.
we were very proactive in getting the word out, and you know, you
But
probably.
when we lost, what was our losing number?
Oh my gosh, do you remember? I don't think I have it. See, Harvey took all that. He had all that information. Offhand, no, I don't.
No?
Because we got a later start last year than this year.
Yep.
And now we have more of a group following, so that's been a really big push, and a lot of the towns are being supporting and stuff like that. Then with the sponsorships we've been doing, we've reached out and had a lot of contacts. I have people contacting me several times a week that, you know, previously wasn't even on our mailing list.
Yep.
So it's a really, the newspaper articles, which was just another one from the town council meeting, just hit, and it's really been amazing how much we've been growing. Yes, Matt, you were going to say.
No, I'm good.
Anything else? Okay, the motion is to approve $23.15 as an expenditure for the out of the dog park funding. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, now I have something else to add to it. Once we finish, we
Okay.
have to finish the vote to make, you know.
Okay.
Which was just the fundraising to date as of April 30th from March, basically from the month of April, where they had brought in an additional $2,725.80.
Wonderful.
So as of, again, April 30th, the balance in the account was $23,517.05. So essentially, they've kind of tripled the fund in 8 months, 9 months, whatever September was.
Like
And then
that.
whatever came in for the 20 days of May that aren't
Hasn't-
that number
We
yet.
haven't, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's technically above that, we just don't know yet.
So that was just through April. I didn't have that email. Okay.
Very good. Skateboard park.
Okay, when we last met, we were getting ready to open the skateboard park for the season without a staff for the first time, and we had been planning on cameras. And I got a call from the town manager about a week before, right after this meeting, and basically said, we're gonna hold off ordering cameras. So there are no cameras at the skateboard park, and for the foreseeable future, there aren't any coming. With that said, I've been down there like twice a week since we've opened, and there haven't been any problems. Hasn't been any graffiti, you know, minor trash, but nothing major, and so far so good. No vandalism or anything along those lines. So,
I could clarify something
Sure.
too. For clarification's sake, the word cameras and any kind of surveillance was a phrase that was used as an in case. There was actually no legitimate plan. Legitimate's the wrong word, but there was no formal plan of using cameras. It was when the attendant was not being used, and when that position was talked about being let go, someone had just mentioned casually, well, if there is a problem, cameras is a solution. With today's technology, the cameras are now cheap, motion activated, etc. But there was at no time did we say, let's make a policy, let's install cameras. So there were some people who might have taken that phrase and saying that we were going to, but the council as a whole did not feel that that was going to be necessary. What we talked about later was if we feel that there is a problem and it needs better supervision, then that could be a possible solution. But I think the overall theme was that the park should be treated as an open area like all parks in town, and that anybody who wanted to go skate at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock in the morning on any given day during the summer, that the lock gate theory for most of us counselors was that it was a time that just needed to be passed, that there was no reason to keep keep it as a lock caged, only under direct supervision. And that was really the theme that the council felt like, that this park should be treated like all parks, and it should be open to the public with a dusk to dawn mentality. I think over the years, skateboarders have gotten a bad reputation. The fact is that this sport is coast to coast. It's in the Olympics. They're trying from skateboards going from there to the winter on snowboarding, all that kind of stuff. So I think that was the overall issue. I wanted to make sure everybody knew that the cameras was a conversation piece at the beginning in case there was issues.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Next item. Actually, I'm going to turn most of this list over to you
Pretty
now.
much, yeah. It's been what we've been working on. So, in the last couple of weeks, we've been getting lots of volunteers coming to us for different things to help with different things. So, the high school senior service day was last week, and we had 20 students for 3 hours at Wasserman Park doing everything from raking the beach to weeding to sweeping to cleaning up cabins and helping us get them ready to open. And then we've had a number of Girl Scout troops doing kind of work in parks, cleanup work in parks kind of all over town. Troop 11501 was at Abbey Griffin doing kind of trash pickup, weeding, mulching. We had 2 troops at Wasserman, 13912 and 12129 doing, again, trash pickup, weeding, mulching. We also had a group that did repainted a lot of the benches that were in the theater for us. Watson Park, we were doing, again, trash pickup, weeding kind of thing, 10151. Veterans Park, same kind of stuff, 10112. And then Twin Bridge, we had troop 10623. So we ended up with 6 troops visiting the parks and trash and weeding and that kind of stuff. So we definitely appreciate all their help with those projects.
Oh, thank you to the high school seniors and to the Girl Scouts. That's a great boost for getting everything ready for the summer.
Yay, girls.
So next, O'Gara Drive.
O'Gara Drive. So, when we last met, we were getting ready to submit the paperwork to the state on the request to convert the old tennis courts and get out from under the requirements of that old Land and Water Conservation Grant. That has now been sent to the state. They've reviewed it. They've sent it now to the National Park Service for review. And so we're at this point, we're basically just waiting for an update or a response from them whenever that might come, and which will then trigger future actions.
And this is essentially to declare that facility, the tennis courts, obsolete so that we can do
Right.
something else there if we decide we want to.
Yep.
Which makes some sense.
Yep.
Good evening. Have a seat. And O'Gara Drive,
Disc golf.
disc golf.
Okay, if you remember last fall, and I don't know if I made enough copies of these, but we had a proposal from some residents come to us about building a disc golf course at Wasserman Park. We liked the idea. We hadn't had any kind of formal concept or formal plan of, here's what hole layouts would look like, here's what rules would look out. They kind of worked through all that stuff. They submitted it in. The finance director's kind of weighed in. The town manager has weighed in. Before she wanted to give it to the council to review, she wanted to come back through us with this kind of their final plan, and particularly wanted to have kind of established rules already set in place. And then she also had asked me to find out from other public courses that are on public lands kind of what the maintenance and that kind of stuff is, which is fairly minor. So what I have for you is basically the revision of the proposal that they gave us last fall, and then also the basically disc golf course rules, which are fairly standard, fairly generic, but I will pass them to you for review. And if there's anything you think we want to add before we turn it back to the town manager, who can then submit it to the town council, then we can go from there. But the bigger package does have kind of a proposed layout of how it would look in there. It doesn't interfere with where the dog park would go. We made sure of that.
Thank you.
And And like I said, the bigger packet is mostly, they had sent most of us to us, but what they didn't have in there at the time was what the layout's gonna look like. And we kind of walked the site a couple of times this fall and mapped it out of how we envisioned that would work.
So this overhead picture is the course map.
Yep.
It's pretty big.
And what they are envisioning, once I find my notes, is
Just hiking that would be great exercise.
if, assuming they get, it actually is very good hiking, but if they, get town council approval, they would basically look at doing some temporary setup. They'd obviously be fully fundraising for the thing. Once the funds were raised, they donated to the town for this purpose. It becomes a town amenity that would be managed by us. And then, they'd basically start with fundraising for 9 holes, and then once that kind of got up and established, then they'd keep going and do the other 9 to make it ultimately an 18-hole course. Disc golf people tend to be pretty good about policing themselves, which is what I've heard from the other towns that have these at this point. Manchester's just opening theirs up. Pelham's got one. I can't think of where the other one is off the top of my head. That's close by, but doesn't seem to be any. Wilton, that was the other one. Major issues with it. So, like I said, this is mostly kind of a second look at this, and particularly with the rules, if there's anything we want to add specific to Wasserman.
I'd like to try it.
So I think we'll stick to the subject matter on the
Yep.
course itself first. So if you have questions about the rules, let's have that as a separate discussion. But as far as the location, you've all got, I don't know where the camera is up there.
Yeah.
Nothing can be seen on TV. Sorry about that.
But it would be once they go to the council.
Yeah. Well, yeah, if they have this picture, it's easy enough to load it. Maybe you want to just, again, for people that can't see the picture,
Yeah.
just tell us where it starts and roughly where in the park it
Just
exists.
pull this in front of me,
Yeah, go
'cause
ahead.
I didn't pull my copy out here, but basically, it would start on the backside of the visitor parking lot, kind of adjacent to, thank you, the, where the proposed dog park site is. And it would, there's basically 3 holes between that parking lot and the fields down below it, and then all the rest of the holes, or most of the rest of the holes, are kind of on the backside in the woods where we did all the tree clearing last year. And then there's a few holes kind of in the woods between the fields and the waterfront, basically. It doesn't interfere at all with where camp buildings are. It wouldn't interfere into the dog park. It wouldn't interfere with any of the sports, because it's all in a wooded area. And realistically, this was the area we cleared with the trees last year, which is just going to regrow anyway if we don't do anything with the site. So,
So it's essentially a woods course rather than a field course.
right, correct.
Which means, as you said, minimal maintenance. You don't have
Yeah.
to maintain the grass or cut the grass or
Right. And
whatever
and
else.
and what most towns do is they kind of organize a cleanup day, once or twice a year to go through and, if their branches, in the spring branches are down in the way or, that kind of stuff, then, there's some light maintenance work as a result of that.
And for those who haven't actually seen it, there's a post in the ground with a basket on it and some chains holding the basket up. You throw a disc, it's like a frisbee, but not a frisbee, and try and get it into the basket. So you throw and you get close, and then you change to a different kind of disc and you throw again. There's par 3, par 4, whatever.
Very complicated.
Yeah.
There's a picture of the baskets on there, in fact.
Yeah.
And this will probably be, at least at the start, a 9-hole course and maybe expansion, depending upon activity use and
Right.
so forth in the future. So, any questions about that part of the program? Yes.
I have a comment to make. It sounds like the property could be repurposed anytime. It doesn't do any permanent alterations to it. It sounds perfect.
I think in a lot of cases, the pipes that hold the basket are set into a socket in the ground. So we may not hear, but that would essentially mean if you wanted to do something else or relocate things, you just pick it up and put another socket someplace and set it in
It doesn't specify it.
the,
Yeah.
well, that's the way I've seen them, so.
Right, yeah.
It really is kind of portable, and you can bring the equipment in for the winter if that's your intent.
And also, do they play in the woods, or do they have to cut a swath?
No, they basically play in the woods, and again, it's fairly open back there for the most part, and they kind of laid out the course with that in mind, so that they weren't trying to go around trees and kind of work with the
Right.
landscape rather
Yeah,
than
exactly.
taking trees down or anything along those lines.
One of the guys, I don't know if it was Matt that was there, one of the guys that was there, he said they enjoy the challenge of having the trees
Yeah.
because it's much more
Right.
difficult than in open space.
But I meant they weren't going to be looking to come in and cut trees down and that kind of stuff. So
Matt, is it, do other towns do like age requirements, so, or can like a group of kids go in there and play, just, play
I
with it, or?
I think it becomes a town amenity like everything else. Watchman Park has like all of our parks has things close at dark basically, and I didn't put that particularly on here. I don't think.
Yeah, I didn't see it.
But the park already has that requirement, so I wasn't sure we really needed to state it again.
Okay.
Well, there are glowing frisbees.
They are going for
Yeah.
that's true, but that's still
Yes,
could be
there
a little
are.
tricky to do that. But
Can't see
and
the
for
baskets.
us, obviously it becomes a new amenity that we can use and promote, particularly in camp, but in general,
Yeah.
you could almost rent it out like fields, and get scheduled uses out of it.
Okay,
Building for
no more questions on that part of it. Once again, for people at home, you want to just give us a little, maybe not read everything, but
Sure.
types of things that are covered in the rules.
Sure. Basic disc golf rules is, what's the sport about? It's, obviously it's safety first. It's making sure there's nobody in front of you. For if you've never seen disc golf, it's basically like real golf except for what looks like a frisbee.
It's like
It's a
tennis.
disc,
Yeah.
but you're throwing to a basket, and it's how many times it takes you to throw the disc to get it into the basket. But otherwise, it's kind of the same rules as golf, using kind of the same kind of rules. Person that completed the previous hole and the least amount of shots goes first the next time, that type of thing. Common courtesy, obviously, be quiet when other people are throwing. Helping new players learn the rules, allow faster groups to play through, carry in, carry out of trash, just because we don't want to add in extra trash pickup requirements, and obviously not allowing people to cut down trees and things to accommodate the course, But that's basically the gist of it. These are fairly standardized rules from the Disc Golf Association.
Okay. One question I have, the first time I saw disc golf, it was at a resort, so you went to the spa, and whoever was running the spa or the weight room or whatever gave you a set of discs to use. So the question is, for those people who don't want to go out and buy discs, frisbees really aren't heavy enough to move the chains and not quite as accurate as the golf type discs. So would we be, that is the town, have a few sets of discs so that people can come and get them from
We
the camp office? Or
We could potentially, when we just have to figure out our procedure for doing that, in terms of just making sure they came back and that sort of thing. But yeah, that would be something we could certainly do.
I don't think they're expensive, but I think it's
Yeah, nice thing to do.
worth having a few sets so that people can play it. Although I have to say, when we let people use the tennis courts, we don't give them a tennis ball, tennis
Right.
paddle.
We have some though.
Yeah.
We could.
Well,
Yeah, but would you want to play with it?
They're mostly kid rackets, so if you're an adult, probably not, but
well, it's worth considering.
yeah.
The more we can open up some of this stuff. We're talking about, at some point in time, allowing people to use canoes on the weekends. And all of this stuff kind of revolves around having some sort of staff person there, whether it's a lifeguard or somebody else. And if we get personnel in place at some point, then giving out paddles and canoes, and we've talked about snowshoes, all kinds of things that we could expand into with very minimal cost. But do we need to
Make a motion, yes.
make a motion and refer this to the town council?
Yes.
Okay, has everybody had a chance to kind of review the rules sufficiently to do that?
Yes,
Yeah, to recommend the rules.
because we
To
had
the town
already,
council.
that fall meeting had already done the other piece of it.
I think
so.
Rick should make he's got a shirt on
I'd
that
be
has
happy to
a,
make
look
a
at his
motion. We happen to be in a Frisbee unit right now at school, and this is great news.
See his
Yeah.
shirt?
Yeah, I see.
We're assuming that the park rules,
Would also
All the
apply,
park
yes.
rules apply anyway, yeah,
Yes.
those are.
do we need to have it listed here, or is that necessary?
I didn't think so. I might ask Councilman Dwyer what he thinks about that, but
I think it's fine just the way it is. Anything can be added later.
yeah.
I would expect, and this is one of those things to be determined, that you're not gonna print all of this on a
No.
board. It's gonna be,
On a website and then.
well, on a website, or maybe something at one of the kiosks near the parking lot, or
Yeah,
Or just
something
like a
like
golf
that.
cart.
yeah,
Something
Something.
could be printed on the back as you're keeping your score or something like that.
Yep.
exactly, yeah.
something to that effect.
Okay, so Rick's gonna make a motion to recommend the rules for the disc golf.
And do we have a second? Second from Cinda. Further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. And the next item is new business. Right? Did I forget
Yep.
something?
Nope, park visits,
Okay.
under new business. So this was getting back to the park
Yeah.
inspections. So I guess I can take that if you.
Well, I'll talk to it for a little
Take
bit.
it away,
Sure, go
man.
for it.
Most years, but I won't say every year, members of this committee have toured, inspected, use whatever word you want to use, our fields and parks, and come back with a comment sheet or some text on things that could be improved, things that need maintenance, things that should be removed, whatever the situation might be. Some people have taken their cameras or their phones and taken some pictures, and we had somebody run it up into a multi-page report that was pretty splendiferous. However, what we're finding now is, and we did this last year, a to-do list is a little bit more manageable, so that we can give it to our staff or Public Works, Highway Division, whoever's going to do it. Maybe some of it has to be jobbed out, whatever. And we can kind of check things off and do it, rather than searching through 4,500 words of text trying to make up a list. So that's the intent. Here's the list of places that we want to go. And if we have people that want to pick one or two places or work as a team, we can do that. We've had some discussion about having our next meeting at Wasserman Park and doing a tour there, so we can look at some of the work that's either been done or is in progress. So before we have a motion or anything, I'm just going to throw it open for discussion and see what people think about doing this. Some of them take 15 or 20 minutes, and others you could spend an hour or more on it. Obviously, some of the bigger parks, more complex than going to Twardowski Fields.
Gotta figure out this. Chris,
Maureen, yeah.
I don't know, but I don't even know where half these places are.
Okay,
I
there's,
didn't even know we had that many fields, actually. I've been here for, I won't say how many years. No, really. Abbey Griffin, I know it's in my backyard, but the,
Maureen,
Really?
Second.
Oh, I can tell you what to do with, yeah, no, it's fine.
So,
No problem.
that's good. So we
But-
need to assign a driver for Maureen.
Please. No, honestly, I know Twardowski Field, O'Gara Drive, well, yeah. Bishop Field?
Up near the new
In front
school.
of the middle school.
Oh,
It has never yet been
Right.
officially named.
okay.
But there's a sign there that says Bishop Field.
I knew, I knew.
Yeah, and then it doesn't say at the corner, don't go down here, it's a dead end.
I know, I knew the man that, he put our swimming pool in, so I know who that is, but I didn't know he had a field named after him, so, or. Twardowski Field, I know, Twin Bridges,
Right across the street.
oh,
Next
that's
to the
what
MYA
it
building.
is.
You know where they are, you just don't know their names.
Right, I
Yeah.
know, trout fishing, yeah, Veterans Memorial Park.
Off Camp Sargent Road.
Camp Sargent Road.
Next to the YMCA camp.
Wasserman Park, Watson, and Weston.
Turkey Hill,
Turkey Hill Road.
Turkey Hill Road,
By
that
Meeting
bridge.
House.
I guess I just don't,
That's the,
Sledding.
Borders the old
And if you have the brochure that we gave you last meeting, or a couple of meetings ago for the spring, summer, the list of all the parks with their
Yeah.
addresses is in the back of the
Oh,
brochure.
okay.
For anybody at home,
thank you.
which you can also get on the website.
I guess I don't get out much. I stay in the backyard.
Chris,
Well, I think that's one of the things that's interesting about Merrimack is we do have a lot of facilities. And we're getting the word out much better now than
How they
we're
are
able to in the
handicap
past with the
accessible.
brochures that Matt's putting out and
yes, they
some of the other programs that have been added, so that's good. Other comments on the,
just gonna say I'd be happy to take a couple.
That's probably the easiest way, just to see who wants to take once. Now, I will just mention, the last time this was done was before I was hired, so I think it was like October or November of
13.
13. So it's been a while, which is why it's kind of time to do it again. And once things settle down in my office, then we can kind of focus on getting some of these things that need to get done, hopefully.
I'm
But,
taking Abby.
So Maureen's got Abby Griffin.
I got Abby Griffin. I just roll out of bed.
Cinda?
I'll take one or two, whatever you want to assign. I'm open.
Sure.
Oh, okay, yeah, let's,
That makes sense, huh?
Bishop Field.
so Bishop Field,
I know where it is now, so I'll go check it out. Everything has to be done to it though, so. Yeah, okay, I got A and B, that's it.
Yep.
okay.
do we have access to the old one, the,
Yes.
next previous one?
Yes.
Yeah. I'll take veterans. No
We'll
We're
take
going
that's
in
okay.
line, Jackie.
Oh,
We're
okay.
going, it's Gibson next. No, she's, secretary wants to keep it in line.
Gibson.
Gibson
I'll take a couple, Matt,
Complex?
too, whatever you want me to do. It's fine. I'll take Gibson.
Okay.
Okay,
I'll be happy to take O'Gara. If that's okay with everyone.
All right.
I can do Togarski, I live right behind it.
Okay. Jackie's got vets.
She went out of line.
Wasserman, we can all do probably when we're there for when we're there for our meeting, because that's going to be
I'll
more
come
of a.
with you.
That's okay, I'll remember that.
Yeah. Get your ticks.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can grab Weston too.
Good.
I can grab Weston too, I live pretty close there.
You can walk there, Ray.
okay.
Good. And like I said, we're just looking kind of bullet point stuff. It doesn't have to be a report. You know, bullet points are easier just to, you know.
Bullet points and pictures, you don't want all that?
No, thank you.
Pictures are good.
Pictures are good, but
Don't do that.
yeah.
I'll-
Well, I think the old report was like 15 pages, and you know.
I'll take my color
Well,
crayons with
Kelly
me.
and I narrowed it down to a to-do list.
Yeah.
And when we gave that to Adam, he said, oh, now we got something we can work with.
Yeah.
So that's why we're emphasizing the
Yeah.
bullet concept, because they had a checklist and it was easy for them to go through that and kind of make up a budget and say, well, we can't do this until then, and all of that kind of management stuff from the work point of view was really the goal. So that's the goal again, to keep it as simple as possible so that we can pass it along to others who want to do some work for us.
I could put another project on here,
Okay.
Which is,
the Senior Citizen Center. Well, the adult, the front of
The
it.
Adult Community
is
Center?
Terrible. Not the front, which is facing, Route 3. It's the back part everyone uses, that to the left of it.
oh, that
from the
landscaping,
parking lot.
that hasn't been maintained for,
Never. It's a mess, and it's just, I couldn't even attempt to try. I was going to, but I'm not strong enough to cut those bushes and stuff. Oh, go, it's all picky, those, rose bushes and stuff. So that would be Parks and Recs doesn't do anything with that.
I think.
I don't have
Phil-
any maintenance staff, so it goes to DPW, but,
Yeah, does Phil Machino do that?
I,
He might,
The
if he
town
was made aware of it, we can look into just making sure that it gets some attention.
Yeah,
I can put that in tomorrow.
that would be great, because
yeah,
it looks
the
awful.
plantings there are fairly permanent, they're just,
But they're
bushes.
they're out of
They need to be
control.
cut back
Yeah.
and maybe throw some mulch on the ground to clean it up and
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't
wood
present
chips.
well.
We have wood chips in ample supply.
Yeah.
Thank
That's a
you.
good point, Maureen, thank you.
Thank you.
Good. Yep.
Anybody else? Okay, thank you all very much. I don't think we need a motion for that, we're just
Nope.
gonna pin it down and press on. Director's report.
Okay, it has been a crazy month since we last met. First, let's start with the Easter egg hunt, which was right after our last meeting. Even though we ended up postponing Easter by 3 weeks, we still had over 300 kids come to the event. Went smooth as could be, and just great event, and really nice warm day, and wasn't too muddy, and so we were pretty happy with how that all worked out, considering 3 weeks earlier we still had 10 inches of snow on the ground, so little crazy. So as you know, Kelly gave her notice, which has been
Okay.
tough. Oh, excuse me. Position's been advertised. We're getting into crunch season, and so trying to find a replacement in crunch season is certainly less than ideal.
hardest.
But we had 34 applications
Wow.
for this part-time position, which is certainly a lot more than we expected by quite a bit. Interviews are in progress, and because of our time crunch, we're hoping to have somebody by beginning of a candidate selected by beginning of next week at the latest, if not sooner. In which case, we go through the process. We hopefully get them in here no later than the 15th of June, because we hit the 15th of June, which is the week before camp starts, which is busy enough that it is. But once the camp starts, then all whatever. Everything breaks loose. So, first 2 weeks of camp are
Get your
crazy, followed by the 4th of July parade. Just the office it just wouldn't be fair to that person to, okay, here's the phone. I'll see you in 4 hours because I got to do these 5 things.
They quit.
So trying to get them in there, somebody in there as quick as possible. I do have one of my summer camp staff is home from school early and is kind of subbing in, so I have some part-time help, at least just answering the phones and dealing with registrations and that kind of stuff in the short term. So we're good there. Excuse me. The other big change was Adam Jacobs left his position with the town.
Wow.
He left end of April to become the DPW director in Goffstown. They had posted his position. I had heard they were starting interviews, and then I saw it was posted again. So apparently they didn't like their candidates, I guess. I don't know for sure. But so that is continued to be open, and they'll get somebody whenever they get somebody. But obviously trying to get some of this other stuff done. They're a little shorthanded over at Highway at the moment with him out, and so we're getting there.
And they're
slowly.
shorthanded too on some other.
Yes, they are, and we'll talk about that in a minute. So that is ongoing. Wasserman Park projects are moving along. We, as you know, Roger Blaze, contractor, had most of the kind of carpentry fix work. We're probably 90% done on his stuff at this point. There's cabin 12 needs wiring. Cabin 11, which was the one that lost the roof in the Thanksgiving snowstorm, is just about done. They're probably an hour or two from finishing the roof. The arts and crafts building's just about done. Function hall's just about done. But so he should meet his June 1st deadline, and as soon as he's done, then we bring in the painters to come in and paint everything that needs to get painted, and then the place is going to look like $1 million. We did just get the a delivery of playground safety surfacing for Wasserman Park, which is probably the first time it's had new surfacing probably since the park was built 6-7 years ago. So that was a much needed improvement, and that wasn't part of that. That was just general maintenance, needed to get done. It was pretty interesting to watch the 45-foot tractor trailer truck navigating the park roads. I thought, okay, he comes in, when we get food at the camp in the summer, it comes by tractor trailer, just standard tractor trailer. Okay, and he makes it no problem. And so this guy comes in, and I'm going, piece of cake. We know this will work. Well, he's 10 foot longer than the standard tractor trailer, and we had to do some backing up and moving forward, and break a couple of branches that are kind of hitting the top of the truck, and but we made it all work. We are still working on getting servicing for Kids Cove and also Veterans Park. And one of the challenge with both of those sites is getting the 45-foot tractor trailer down near the playground. And I'm not sure that we can do that. So we may have to dump it somewhere and then have DPW move it, and because otherwise, if they come in smaller trucks, then they charge a whole lot more to do that. So we're trying to figure out the best way to do that before we get that delivery to come in. But it's ready to be ordered, and they're just waiting for my okay to do it. So, but again, those are kind of routine maintenance kind of things. We'll move right on to summer hiring. So the day after Kelly gave her notice, my waterfront director called me and said that he had just gotten a full-time job and would now not be able to come back to me this summer.
Oh.
And so that is our biggest problem at the moment, is I don't have a waterfront director. I don't have anybody internal that's qualified to move up. And so we are continuing to advertise and hope we can find somebody, because I'm not sure quite what we're going to do, because camp opens in a month. And the beach opens in a month. The other piece, we're also looking for a summer park maintenance, is the other one. We actually have funding starting in July to restore weekend lifeguard coverage. And the challenge we're getting is finding people to work. Now, last fall when I was preparing the budget, we surveyed all the towns and communities around us and kind of what people were paying, and we were a little low, but not bad. And we went up a little bit to try and get a little closer to everybody else. Well, in the last 3 months, every town around here seems to be having trouble finding lifeguards, and so a lot of the towns are jumping the rates up. I've seen $10, $11, $12 an hour for lifeguards, and we're at $8.50.
Oh.
I've got my weekdays covered, so that's the critical piece. We're actually hosting a lifeguard training course at the beginning of July at Wasserman Park, so hopefully we can kind of recruit out of the class, assuming, because now we've seen how good they are, and we'll still get the weekend coverage, but it may end up waiting till next season, and we'll have to look at the salaries again next year when we plan for next year's budget, because it is what it is. But again, if you know anybody that's a experienced lifeguard or one looking for kind of summer park maintenance, we're looking for both of those, and have them call me. The program registrations are kind of all going. I think a lot of parents, particularly with camp, were waiting to see when school was going to get out, and because we were getting a lot of those phone calls, and now that that's been announced, they are starting to come in. We're a little behind where we are from last year, but not bad. So, and again, I think we'll be okay, numbers wise. One of the things that came to my attention, so last day of school is the Friday the 19th. Teachers still have to go on Monday, which I hadn't really given thought to. And my camp director and my assistant director are teachers. So it probably looks, and I just found this out at 4 o'clock this afternoon. So at this point, it looks like I do have to postpone the first day of camp and start on Tuesday and do a shorter week, and just prorate the fees to adjust, because I can't function without the two of them missing, especially the first day of camp. So if it was the end of the summer, I might be able to make it work, but not the beginning. So we looks like at this point we will be opening Tuesday the 23rd for the first day of camp. The summer concerts will be getting started on Wednesday, June 17th, out here at Abbey Griffin Park, and I have schedules for people here that we were in your brochures previously, but so they will be running from June 17th through August 5th. So it's basically every Wednesday. There are two that we are skipping, though. One is Wednesday, July 1st. And the reason we did that for two reasons. One is on Friday night, July 3rd, the Merrimack Concert Association does their holiday concert. And so we've replaced Wednesday, July 1st with a movie in the park, which is going to be Disney's Alexander and the Horrible No Good Day. And I'll tell you this stuff, Michelle, after, so you don't have to try to. And then August 12th, to kind of close out the summer, we're going to be doing Mary Poppins down here again at Abbey Griffin Park. And again, those are all free events for the community. And the last one is an upcoming event. We are hosting another community blood drive at Wasserman Park on Saturday, June. I put 2nd, but I realized that the 2nd is not the right
Not
day.
a Saturday.
It's June 6th, so it's wrong on the agenda, but it's the 6th. From 9 to 2 at Wasserman Park. And I think that's everything. Like I said, it's been a crazy couple of months. I spent 6 hours doing interviews today, and we're not done yet. So, yeah.
So, do we have questions for Matt on any of the above? Must have hit it all. I do have one question about the lifeguards.
Yeah.
The people who are lifeguards now are essentially for the camp.
Yeah.
How many hours a week do they work?
40.
Is there any way of adding people in to give weekday time and rotating so that people get occasionally a weekend day?
Not at the moment, because I have just enough to function with camp. So if I
No, I'm thinking in terms of a way to offer a few more hours to one or two additional hires, so that you're not just saying, oh, weekends only.
No, because it would, once they go over the 40 hours, they'd trigger the overtime, and that would.
Yeah, they'd have to get a day off in the week, and you'd fill in with one of the other people.
I don't have enough people to fill in, though.
I'll talk to you about it later.
Okay.
Any other thoughts or questions?
No.
Okay.
Organization.
Yep. I was just looking at the other stuff. One of the things that we've talked about doing on a future agenda, and we've talked about it in the past in very general terms, was some sort of a master plan for the town in terms of where things might be located if we do it. So you might want to keep that in mind as we get to do the park field walkarounds. And the other thing I'm thinking on that is we want to get those done fairly soon so we can get it turned in for the June meeting, because we don't normally meet in July. And if we want to be able to give this stuff to the DPW to chip away at, saving it until August really doesn't help much. So keep that in mind when you have your park things, and if you make up a list and you want to email it in to Matt, you don't have to hold it off until the next meeting. You can email it to Matt, and we'll start assembling stuff right away. Okay? Now, organization reports. Who's first? I guess that is Maureen.
Maureen's first. First, I apologize for not being here last month. I was coming over all set, and an hour before I was coming here, my brother passed away.
Oh,
So,
I'm sorry to hear that.
but it was kind of a good thing, because I was with him all day, and he had cancer, and it was not good for him, but it was we didn't need to suffer anymore. So, But anyways, lots been going on with the seniors. We're busy as usual. April 27th, we had a penny sale and a bake sale. And we did pretty good on that. It was just inside the club. We decided to go up on the dues. Instead of $15, we voted to go up to $20, big time, and couples are $35. And we haven't changed the dues since the seniors have started, so they felt like maybe a little extra money in the kitty would help. So it was passed by everybody. So Fran Ledoux washed all our curtains in the hall. She took them all down with the help of Phil? No, Phil's the maintenance man here. Steve. Get them confused. They look alike. He'll kill me. And one's got hair, one doesn't. She took all the curtains home. She has huge washing machines, and they put them all up and saved some money, not getting them dry cleaned, and they look pretty good. So that was it. We had a memorial service this Monday for all the seniors that had passed away this year. And we do it every May. We do it, and it was nice. It was nice. We had a lot of sign-ups. We had May 27th. We have the Algonquin Playhouse for the Sister Act, and we're going to the Warren Lobster House. June 6th, we're going to have a mother and father's potluck lunch. That's for the seniors. June 24th, we're going to Martha's Vineyard. Vineyard? I don't know. Fox Tours is doing that one. So all these are signed up people. It's full. But a lot of people drop out. So they have a list of people that want to go. Interlake Summer Theater is West Side Story. That's July 8th.
We're doing the same trip.
And we have an overnight, which I signed up for to get away. Booth Bay Harbor and Cabbage Island Clam Bake. That's in July. And I thought it was reasonable because in July you can't even get to Hampton Beach for less than $200 a night. It was like $300 and included all these dinners and lobster bake and everything. Barbara was at our meeting, and she handed out little cards for the dog park so that all the seniors will be voting, or they should be starting. And Lorraine sent us a little blurb on for emails for us to do that. And the mom and pop dinner, I'll get back to that, I'm sorry. We give corsages to the life members. There are 17 of them that are over 90. And they continue to come to the meetings. So a couple of them are not feeling well, and they end up in a nursing home for a couple days and then come home. So, but other than that, are there any questions? I think we're busy. Yeah.
I find everything you guys are doing so inspiring, let me tell you.
Thank you. It's pretty good. There's, ins and outs, but we do have win a trip raffle too for the seniors. Everybody can buy as many tickets as they want, and Lorraine draws 2 trips. She gets enough money that she gives like $100 to the club and $100 trip. You can book 2 trips, whoever wins, or 1 trip, depending on the price of the trip. And everybody likes that. So
Yeah, that's a
it
good
raises
idea.
money inside, in our group. So, thank you.
MYA is next.
We have a lot going on also, obviously. We're in season with baseball, softball, lacrosse, and soccer as well. Though it's considered off-season, we still have a lot of children participating. Presently, sign-ups are happening for our football program. Basketball and wrestling are kind of quiet at this time. We did have a couple of elections at our last meeting. I had the privilege of being reelected, although I had recently joined as well. It just so happened that my position, member at large, was up. No one ran against me, interestingly, so stuck with me for a
I
while.
wonder why.
Yes, and we also have a new president, Tom Thornton, who's previously been the president of our baseball program.
Past chairman here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was elected as our president-elect. He'll take over in June, So at our next meeting, we'll start working together. We finally had a chance to inspect the cabin at Wasserman. I don't know if you've conversed with.
Not since you had your meeting, no.
Okay. And long story short, after touring the inside and out, we decided really that we don't think it's probably worth the investment at this time.
Okay.
I know you felt that way as well. We were hesitant to give up a building, as I think any of us would be.
Right.
But it does need substantial repairs, and at this time, we're good as far as individual storage locations go. So it was kind of, we could spend our money better elsewhere, I think.
Okay, good to know.
Didn't think you were missing anything if that building was gone? In
No,
other words-
I guess that's a good way of putting it as well. Yeah.
And we had kind of originally hoped to keep it at ourselves. I'm told it's one of the original ones, or one of the older ones on the property, but
looks
it's
like
like it needs substantial work,
Yeah.
unfortunately. It's just,
Concealable
it'd be expensive. It's kind of like Wasserman House, again, same thing. It'd be great to use it, but you're going to spend $100,000+ to make it usable, and you could do it a lot cheaper than that with a new building.
Yeah.
So.
And lastly, we had an opportunity to present Adam Jacobs from the town with a small token of our appreciation, a plaque with some excellent, kind stuff written on it. It was the first time I'd met Adam, but from what I understand, and I got that feeling from you as well, that he's gone out of his way to help our association a number of times, and it sounds like he's going to be greatly missed in our community. So it was awesome getting to meet him and to thank him for everything he's done for our kids.
He's done a lot for
Everybody, yeah. That's all I have at this time.
We did finally get all the fields open, too. It took a while, but wet spring.
Out there with
Yeah.
a blower getting rid of the snow.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
Town council, Dan?
The only thing I'd encourage a lot of us here tonight who have these park assignments, our council workshop, June didn't turn out to be a very good month for us getting together on a date, so it's going to be postponed till July. Obviously, a lot of you know that probably my biggest, probably the biggest cheerleader on Wasserman Park, mainly because it's the biggest park. It's got the most moving parts and stuff. But when you make your bullet points and you make your observations of all parks, it's important that we get this to Matt and any of the improvements that you want to have seen done at Wasserman Park. It's a great opportunity because I can be that mouthpiece that takes it to the budget at budget time for the council. I can, not speaking out of turn, but every single person on the council is very interested in making some investments in Wasserman Park to make sure that park remains in really good shape. So anything that you do see out there, it's important that you get it back, the information to Matt, because we really do need to hear about it, and we want to hear about it. I tell this into other aspects of my life where I say, if you don't tell me about a problem, I can't fix it. So having a list like was done a couple years ago is a really big help. But as you know, Wasserman Park is probably the one that has more of a budget impact than any of the other parks. But there's a real effort, I think, by all of us in town to make that place better every year. So that's it. Thanks.
Thank you. School board, Cinda?
Sure, just a couple things. Andy Schneider and Davis Powell were reelected last month, and at that point every year the school board does a reorganization. So Chris Ortega was reelected as chairman of the school board, and Shannon Barnes reelected as vice chairman or chairperson. At that time, we also reorg our committee assignments, so that's why I'm here at this committee. Shannon has other responsibilities, so we just kind of shuffled some of the responsibilities around. So looking forward to working with you all. And I think you've already mentioned the last day of school is the 19th, and graduation is the 13th. Also, just kind of a side note, Debbie Wolfline is retiring, and Adam Carragher will assume the principal of the middle school, just as an FYI. And there's going to be a mock DUI coming up, I think in the next week or so at the high school. It was today. Okay. All right. Thank you. The month is like flying. That's the thing. It's like the days are just
Tell me
flying
about
by.
it.
It's like, I'm like, I'm not sure if I'm at the end of June right now in my mind or like the beginning of May. But anyways, thank you. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you all. We have a couple of other things that I want to just touch on. We've talked about the park inspections. We'll do a tour. Well, this is the tentative plan until we get a little bit of feedback right now, that our next meeting would be the June, what's the date? 10th. For a couple of reasons. We moved the date up 1 week, and the intent is to have the meeting at Wasserman Park and maybe start a little bit earlier so that we can walk around the park and see some of the stuff that is going on, so the things that have been done, things that are yet to be done. We're talking about doing it this week or this month, but there's going to be so much more done in the next 3 to 4 weeks that we really wanted to have all of that stuff under our belts, if you will. So the question ultimately is June 10th at 6:30, 6 o'clock? Is there a preference for anybody? Can anybody not make June 10th or?
And I won't even be around.
It's the second Wednesday.
I won't even be around to say that I'm not gonna be there, so this is your notice. I'm
Okay.
away in June, the whole one.
You're traveling that month, right?
Yeah.
I said you're traveling, right?
Big
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Big
The
time.
the other reason we didn't do the standard 17th was that's the first night of the first summer concert here, so I have to be over here.
And you're all welcome to come to the concert.
Yes.
I don't
However,
have to.
does
Just sit in my
June 10th
backyard.
work for the majority of us?
It's fine.
Do we have a preference for 6 or 6:30?
I can come at any time, doesn't matter. I'm easy.
What are you thinking, Matt? How long do you figure we'll take to walk around? Half hour?
Yeah, 6:30 is probably okay. It might take a little longer to walk around, but if my thought is to keep next month's agenda strictly to discussing the park inspection tours and just kind of going through those lists and then doing the walk around and that keeping the agenda just to those things and then organizational reports, but so that we can kind of focus on the walk around piece. But yeah, 6:30 will work for me if it works for people.
Okay, let's do that as 6:30 then. The other thing we didn't talk about that's coming up is July 4th. Matt's in charge of the parade, or Matt and
Yeah.
whatever help he can scrounge up. And I understand things are going along well for it. There's a website for the parade. There's a website, merrimack4th.com, and that's for some of the other activities, and the two websites are linked pretty well together, so I hope you'll all take a look at that stuff. Start building your float now.
That's right.
Floats are always good.
Or if not, I'll find a volunteer.
Matt, I heard you were gonna be manning the dunk tank and.
I haven't heard that yet.
After the parade? I heard that.
I think I seem to heard that
Remember that
only.
he said he doesn't have a weekend lifeguard yet?
Yeah, that's right. that only qualified if I think if you won the contest, right?
Yeah.
We'll know by then, right?
Yeah.
So, any comments from the public? We have somebody from the public. Anything we can,
Answer for you?
Yeah.
okay, okay. Comments from anybody on the committee?
Christine, did you want to mention that?
Sure, well, I don't know if any of you know, the farmer's market is opening June 17th, that's also on a Wednesday. It's gonna be at the Vault Motor Storage Facility, 526 Daniels Highway. We have over 20 vendors signed up, the dog park will
good.
be there, with live dogs, so it should be fun. A whole lot of vendors, a lot of new staffing, so I hope everybody can come down and visit. It's 3 to 6, 17th, yes.
Bring cash.
Yes, most of the vendors take cash, some do take debit and credit cards, doing those little credit card machines and stuff, but.
But cash is
Cash is
king. And they do a great job. So, Time for one more motion. Do I hear a second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay. All in favor? All opposed? We are done. Thank you all very much.